and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Hazing on college campuses can now lead to serious criminal charges in Kentucky.
A bill that was named after a University of Kentucky student who died in 2021 was signed into law today. It's called Loftons Law. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on what led to the law and what it includes.
A Kentucky family has been pushing for changes on college campuses since October of 2021.
My son's gone, and we can't bring him back. But hopefully this will never happen again.
18-year-old Thomas Lofton Hazelwood died of alcohol toxicity. He was found at the farmhouse fraternity, and multiple investigations pointed to hazing and the use of alcohol. Senate Bill 9 makes hazing that leads to death or serious injury a felony. Governor Beshear signed the bill into law today.
It's a phone call nobody ever wants to get. And we hope this never happens to anybody else again.
Several investigations took place after Hazelwood's death, many of them focusing on numerous instances of hazing at the farmhouse fraternity. The local chapter's status was revoked. Tracy Hazelwood says she speaks to high schools about the dangers of hazing. She says knowing that it could lead to a crime could change the culture at fraternities.
So I just hope when you know that there's a felony looking at you, hopefully it's just going to be fun, brotherhood, friendship.
Children and young people that go to college should be have the ability to have a great time in college and not have the fear of hazing that has been so prevalent over the last many years.
The law also states that reckless participation in hazing can lead to a misdemeanor. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
A scholarship has been named in Lofton Hazelwood's honor that students from Henderson with an agriculture major can apply for.
Kentucky's driving under the influence laws are now a little more strict. House Bill 262 mandates that a person is guilty of vehicular homicide when they cause the death of another person operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. It would be a Class B felony. The law also states that a person must be held for 6 hours instead of 4 when arrested for DUI.
Governor Andy Beshear stopped by the Cowan Community Center in Letcher County today. The governor presented more than $1.8 million in funding for several projects in the county. The funding is for tourism, clean water initiatives, and supporting local nonprofits, including the Cowan Community Center.
This funding will allow us to expand our operations somewhat and make those more secure, to grow other opportunities, to be able to create some sustainability.
The governor also signed 2 bills into law, including House Bill 157, which creates a statewide disaster response team. We'll have more from Beshear's visit tonight at 11.
The Laurel County Sheriff's Office is conducting a death investigation after finding a man dead in a car off West Line Creek Road. 35-year-old Joshua Hagel of London was found approximately 7 miles outside of London on Saturday morning. Hagel had been reported as missing. An autopsy is being conducted in Frankfort.
The U.S. Forest Service in Virginia plans to conduct a prescribed burn in Scott and Wise counties. The 10-acre burn will be conducted in the High Knob area. They will begin tomorrow. Officials say the burn will only last 1 day, but locals could see and smell smoke for several days. The Forest Service is conducting the burn to reduce hazardous fire fuels, restore wildlife habitat, and improve overall forest health.
And that's something you see several times a year. Of course, it is currently spring wildfire season in Kentucky, so just across the border, it's something we watch, especially with the breezy conditions we see often this time of year. Mid-60s out there right now as the sun has a cloud over it right now. You don't see the bright sunshine, but pretty nice conditions out there at the moment. There's UVA-Y. As a matter of fact, you see some pretty nice conditions out there with temperatures staying in the upper 60s. It's a good 5 to 10 degrees cooler than this time yesterday, and as your forecast first through the nighttime hours, we'll see those temperatures drop into the 40s tonight, but a few more clouds work on in late. Now, in a few minutes, I'll have the very latest on when we see a return to perhaps more showery conditions in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Letcher Countyans living in the Kona community are concerned their houses could be in danger. A tunnel built in the 1970s beneath Highway 119 was overflowing with water during the July flood, forcing some to evacuate. Now, Leonard Fleming, who lives next to the tunnel, says he and his neighbors fear it could happen again any time.
It's kind of looking like a shotgun barrel pointed at all these houses. I think it's a poorly designed tunnel. I know once a tunnel like this, it costs some big bucks to build it. You can't move the tunnel. It'd be like moving a well. But we need some help.
Fleming said 2 houses near the creek have been elevated because of water flowing through the tunnel.
In the months following last July's historic flood, many Eastern Kentucky organizations have dedicated their time to helping people rebuild their lives. Aspire Appalachia was one of those organizations, but members recently shared they are out of funding. WYMT's Alyssa Williams has more.
Last year's devastating flood destroyed numerous Breathitt County homes like Witch Harold's.
I knew that I was going to lose what I had worked for all my life, a muddy water, and I just had the urge to stay and watch it and experience it. And so when the water started rising, I just got up on the kitchen counter beside the sink and sat with my feet hanging over in the water.
Once the flood water subsided, Harold was left with a home that would need to be completely gutted. But that's when Aspire Appalachia stepped in to help.
They furnished the insulation, the sheetrock, the flooring, some appliances. They were very helpful. Aspire Appalachia was very helpful.
But last week, Aspire Appalachia members shared on Facebook that because of depleted funding, the nonprofit would be discontinuing their flood relief efforts.
We're not sure what the future holds in that regard, but as an organization, I believe we have done all we can to show that we are willing to step up during those times, and that's something that as an organization we will continue to do as we're needed.
Those with the organization say although it is unclear as to whether they will reopen this program in the future, if people are still in need of assistance, Aspire Appalachia can connect them with other resources that can help.
Aspire existed before the flooding in July of 2022, and it will continue to exist now that we have halted our flood recovery effort in terms of that individual assistance. Now, I'll say that as a nonprofit organization that's focused on bettering the lives of people and animals in Eastern Kentucky, we'll continue to help our community in whatever capacity we're able to.
Aiming to continue serving the region just in a different way. In Breathitt County, Alyssa Williams, WYMT Mountain News.
Those with Aspire Appalachia say they are grateful to have received the funding they did to help supply flood survivors with materials to rebuild. On Facebook, the organization said it would finish serving the last 10 flood relief applicants before ending the program.